is that choosing your co-founder up front is actually really important, and having a co-founder is actually really important. And this was huge for us because the ability for us to bounce ideas off of each other and then work through each other's ideas and each other's perspectives has been really important. And so having someone who can help you out in your company like that, having someone who can see the future and sort of see which way you need to take the company is extraordinarily useful. And I've really valued the time working with my co-founder. And I really recommend, if you don't have a co-founder, be open to taking one on the team. And I think that always will strengthen your company.
Fantastic. All right, second question. Tell us a little bit about your clients. You guys got some traction in the market this year, and tell us a little bit about your clients and why they're excited to work with you guys as a young startup.
Yeah, so I think we have mainly retail traders right now. So those are people who are just like trading on Robinhood. They're like, I want to automate this strategy. I want to trade Apple, but better. I want to trade it while I'm not looking at it. That's really cool. But I think the even cooler part is that we have our first institution. So one of the big ones, one of our champions is Scroll Finance. They recently got started just like us. So I think they're scaling to about 10 million under management right now, which is really awesome. They are pushing up all their backtests, all their live models to our platform right now. And then they're using that to go out and raise money. So our platform has sort of turned into both an area for collaboration, but also an area so that they can go out and raise money. They don't want to build those interfaces. They don't want to build that UI, but we provided one that looked really nice and that they could take and actually raise more money off of, which was really awesome.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great perspective from your clients. Tell us a little bit about your sales. How are you approaching these clients? Is it direct sales?
Yeah, so I think what's most effective is network. We found that just knowing people at Michigan, at Virginia Tech has really improved the way we do sales. It's really hard inside our space in particular. Just go to a hedge fund, say, use this. I think it's cool. They'll be like, no way. There's some risk involved in doing that. But if you know them, leverage your network all the time for sales, especially early on, and you're going to have a way better chance of actually making real money out of it.
Two more questions. One is the community. You touted some pretty awesome statistics of what you guys are doing on Discord and other platforms. Do you anticipate monetizing that community in the future?
Well, we don't plan on monetizing the Discord community directly, but of course, all those people, they're creating algorithms. They're going to want to deploy it somewhere. So why not use the thing integrated with their package? So that makes it extremely easy to go from idea to actually trading on the cloud. And they pay us a little fee on the side for that. So we're going to try to monetize all those retail traders in some direct way.
Fantastic. So part of your open source strategy, right?
Open source strategy, yeah.
Perfect. So when we think about the audience here, again, most of them are builders looking at building something. As you are leaving Virginia Tech here in a couple of weeks, what advice do you have for the other founders in this room, and what would you tell them to do as they prepare to come back next fall?
I would say the thing that worked out best for us is that there are going to be many, many months where you see absolutely no traction at all, and before it just suddenly takes off. And for us, what really got us through those hard parts is that I tried to make this one really simple statement where I'm going to commit to GitHub once a day, every single day, at least once a day. And not only will that make you a better programmer and just committing to doing like one piece of work, it's just a really good way to make sure that you put in work even when you're feeling like nothing's going anywhere. So this got us through low spots where we didn't see a single star on our repository for a month and a half. And now we're getting like 4 or 5 a day. So it's just really crazy. Make sure you just put in like a little bit of work every day, and then you'll slowly see that progress build. And then from there, it'll take off, especially if you're doing a really long project that has a ton of moving parts in it.
Love that. Emerson, thank you so much. If the audience will join me in congratulating Emerson again.
My mic when I walk away. There you go. So quick side note on Blankly. I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts. This is a Virginia Tech, Michigan co-founded team, which is really special. And one of the things that we saw kind of proliferate when the world shifted virtual the last couple of years is students fighting co-founders at other top tier universities. And our programs are built to celebrate that and to include students from other schools. So we actually have several VT and other university co-founded teams tonight, which I think also really speaks to the importance of network and mimics how the real world works. afterlife on campus. As you saw with Blankly, they've made a lot of progress. Some of our teams are actually market ready and will spin companies out of Virginia Tech. Some of our teams will conceive a startup here on campus and they will take that into industry. And we celebrate that as well, because the goal of Startup Hokies is to help students move new ventures from idea to market. And the business outcomes of those are going to vary widely, but we're always investing in the lives of founders. Some of those investments literally pay off in the next 12 months. Many of those are 5 to 10-year investments, but we're investing in the people. And we think that makes the Apex Center and Startup Hokies really special. Speaking of people, I would love to bring Ben up to introduce our next team.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben. I am a student consultant here at Apex. So I'm extremely excited to be introducing our next team, LeetHub. LeetHub was founded by Qasim Wani, a senior majoring in computer engineering. And basically, LeetHub is a Chrome extension that allows users to automatically sync their LeetCode solutions to GitHub. And this actually started as a personal project for Qasim while he was preparing for coding interviews during his junior year. So I haven't personally worked with Qasim this year, but what I do know is that he's been involved with Apex for his entire undergraduate career, and he's worked on a few different projects. So there's no stopping this guy.
There you go. Oh, can you go back? Cool. Hey, everyone. I'm Qasim Wani. I'm the creator of LeetHub, an open source tool that helps developers sync their code. If there's one key takeaway from this presentation, it's that really identify and almost perfect the core product you're building. To set the stage, job seekers in the software engineering department or software engineering roles are often required to do well on coding interviews. This often means that you are preparing for coding interviews by going to different websites such as LeetCode, Algo Expert, and Geeks for Geeks to prepare for coding interview questions. And if anyone in the audience can recognize all these logos, God bless you. One of the problems, if you go back real quick, one of the problems with having all these platforms is that you're solving these coding questions in all these platforms and consolidating them onto a local folder or a Google Drive. And this is manual work that a lot of students, including myself and my peers, have done over the years, which is extremely time consuming and derails you from the main task at hand, which is solving for coding interview questions. And this is where LeetHub comes into play. At its core, LeetHub automatically syncs your coding solutions to GitHub. The main, as compared to how people solved or addressed this problem before, which was just done manually, LeetHub is insanely fast. We, as an open source community, are built on top of privacy first rules. And in that case, we do not collect any data of any shape or form. With over 1,600 stars and 450 clones of our project, LeetHub has been consistently voted as a top 5 repository on GitHub. Next. And now let's talk about some of the numbers. We, over the past year, have seen people really adore LeetHub. We have over 12,000 users, of whom 84% have been on the platform month over month. LeetHub has been used in just the past year alone over 8 million times. And when I created this slide deck, which is like 3-4 days ago, the actual numbers are about 8.5 million times. So in just the past 4 days alone, people have used it close to 500,000 times. And on average, it's been used 15 to 20,000 times per day. And our developer base, where users can sign up for new features or post or contribute to new features, we have a separate LeetHub version for that, and that has over 1,000 users. And it really goes to show how motivated the community is to contributing to this project. And speaking of appreciation, if you just continue scrolling, you would see a lot of people take it on Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube across the world, just raving LeetHub. And we've also been memeified multiple times. And the one thing that I did find interesting was this YouTube video that some random guy on Twitter made, which is 3 hours long, just talking about LeetHub. And I'm guilty for admitting this, but I've only seen the first 10 minutes. But I'm sure it's great. I do recommend everyone here to watch it instead of me. So here are some of the other fun facts about LeetHub. This, as mentioned earlier, was a personal problem that I faced junior year of college. And I came up with the idea, build the MVP, and launch it in Reddit in under 8 hours. We have received over 3 acquisition offers, which really confuses me because this is an open source project and all the code is available for anyone to use for free. We have also been used, or LeetHub has also been used in various Korean programming competitions. But what I find the most interesting about LeetHub is that most of the features that are live today have been developed by the open source community, of whom I have never met a single person. But it really goes to show the power of remote work and remote first collaboration. And as a fun activity, if any of you guys have time later, you can scan this QR code to see the last time someone has used LeetHub around the world, which more often than not is in the past 30 to 40 seconds. Okay, about me. So I've been, as mentioned, I've been part of Apex since freshman year. This is a picture of me with Howard and I think Lisa, I'm not sure. Freshman year, I'm still like, rolling on my Crocs, which I thought was really cool. And I'm also trying very hard to grow facial hair. So I've at least grown that. But yeah, over the years, it's been really helpful just being part of the community and building. I think, a lot of builders over here, especially those who haven't have a lot of experience, might get intimidated looking at all the numbers that you've seen today from all the other teams that you'll see today. And I think, LeetHub was never my first product that I've built. Since freshman year, I've built close to 30 side projects. So, most of what I've done hasn't worked, but all of them have taught me something that has gone on to, help basically build a reservoir of experience that has helped me land very lucrative, quote unquote, positions at some of the top VC firms such as Kleiner Perkins, On Deck Capital, 8VC. And after graduation, I will be joining Path AI as a machine learning researcher, trying our best to solve cancer. Thank you.
Qasim, really appreciate the story and the experiences that you shared with us. I will not be watching the 3-hour Twitter video, but appreciate anyone who will. Qasim, tell us a little bit about how you acquire customers. So you've got a lot of users that that are using your product. How is that acquisition process?
Well, to tell you the truth, there wasn't any. If you go back to the usage growth, so every uptick that you see here has been an influencer on Twitter, which is probably like another student talking about LeetHub. And there's this very tiny upticks you see over here and here. That's me. That's what I contributed to. This was me posting it on Reddit saying, hey, you should check out LeetHub. But really, it comes down to identifying and solving a problem. I mentioned this at the start. A lot of startups, and I've been guilty of this. When I did my first startup, I was all obsessed with just pumping out as many features as possible. But having 10 features that someone barely uses or recognizes versus one feature that always works is exponentially more powerful, which probably explains why this graph is also exponential in nature. So it all comes down to identifying the key problem you're solving and just, going knee deep into that problem and just trying out your best as far as talking to people. Reddit is a great source of community where you can market it.
So you mentioned that you're going to take a full-time position, with On Deck and with Path AI, which is really exciting. Tell us a little bit about what your next steps are with this project. Are you hoping to grow it? Are you going to leave it and abandon it, or what are your goals for it?
Yeah, I don't plan on leaving it. I really enjoy most of the time talking to people who are interested in LeetHub, but it's not something that I want to spend a lot of my life's worth or working on. But you know, a lot of like software in general is all about leverage. You don't need to consistently work on the same thing over and over again. You just need to have a repository of tools or projects you've built, and that can supply you with passive income or whatever. So it really, at least LeetHub for me, is one of those tools where I say that I've helped a lot of students get job or just help them with their job interviews. And you know, while it's an important problem to solve, which Naman Singh from MassApply will talk about, I'm more excited in research and machine learning and solving big long-term problems like cancer and AGI.
Awesome. Paul Lombardi had a question in chat, you know, specifically about the resources here at Virginia Tech and how, you know, folks around the ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem here have helped you nurture not only this ideas, but kind of past projects and helped you move things forward. You know, I think for the audience, tell us a little bit about how you started as a freshman to where you are now. Again, 30 iterations with different ideas. What's kept you going, and who's helped you along the way?
Well, I do want to give special shout out to Howard Haynes. He has been really helpful as a mentor and someone I've always seeked help from. And one of the things I remember, this is like, I think first week of college, and there was this kickoff at Apex at the Moss Art Center, and I just like approached him out of nowhere, just this random kid, also in Crocs, just, you know, try to ask him for, hey, how do I do a startup? And I think he said, you know, fall in love with a problem and not a solution. And that to me at the time was a very profound idea. And what really kept me going is, you know, it's so much easier to work on things when you're motivated, and it's very difficult to keep working on stuff when you're not motivated. So if you really have a, you know, vision of what the future of humanity is supposed to look like, and you realize that it's you and people like you who are in a position to make that impact, it's very hard for anyone to knock you down. And I think with Apex, what I really got at the end of the day was hope. And I think hope is probably one of the most powerful constructs you can have, because a person with hope, you know, is very hard for them to give up. And yeah. Thank you for that, Apex.
No, Qasim, that's awesome. You know, follow-on question there is advice for the audience as they're getting ready to kind of start and build, you know, their new ventures. If they're playing with something or toying with something, what advice would you give everyone here?
Honestly, just do it. Like you oftentimes, and I know a couple of friends who have this anxiety over, oh, is what I'm going to build going to help 1 billion people? But it's like the more you focus on is what I'm doing helping millions and millions of people, the less likely you are to start. So the best advice I have is to iterate as many times as possible. Work on the dumbest thing you have in mind and see where that takes you. It blows me how really simple ideas like LeetHub has provided me and a lot of people I know with a platform that they can leverage later. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about just building, because you're never going to succeed the first time. So the earlier you fail, the higher your chances of making it big, hopefully, eventually.
Awesome, Qasim. Thank you so much. Let's give Qasim a big round of applause. And Qasim, we do expect Path AI to cure cancer within the next 2 years. So crush it.
No doubt.
No, I love it. That's awesome, Qasim.
No doubt. Our money's on Qasim for sure. I remember you guys, I think it was you and Sai, you went up to MIT early on and you took a bunch of money out of Boston at one of their hackathons. And we were like, okay, these are going to be 2 young entrepreneurs we need to keep our eye on. So, you know, a couple other things I'll pull out of from Qasim's presentation there. A lot of students get stuck on, is this a good idea? And you know, I think the notion of focusing on a problem that you've experienced firsthand is really important, because you're much more likely to build something that makes sense because you know the problem. And if you build a solution that fixes it for you, it might fix it for a lot of people, and you can access the market. So I love the thought of 30 side projects, and constant iteration. And I love that, ironically, maybe the thing you built for yourself took you the farthest during your time at Virginia Tech. That's awesome. That's what Startup Hokies is all about. We are getting a lot of input on Zoom. One of the things that I want to mention is we're going to catalog all the Zoom chat and the questions, any offers to help, as well as contact information. And we will compile that and share it with the teams after tonight's demo day. So if you are a remote attendee, feel free to dump things in chat, and we'll take care of that on our side. And for everyone in the audience, as well as remote, I want to mention that all these teams are available in Startup Tree. You can connect with them, you can message them, and you can continue the conversation well past tonight in the Startup Tree platform. All right, so we will keep it rolling here with our next team. If I could have Jonathan come up and introduce Lumo.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan. I'm one of the student consultants. So today I have the pleasure of introducing Sai. Sai is one of the founders of Lumo. So Lumo sets out to help improve educational outcomes. Sai actually found this problem coming to Virginia Tech. When he got here, he noticed that there was a huge problem, or maybe more of a delay in progress with educational technology. So that was the main factor driving him to come and create Lumo. So without further ado.
Hi everyone, I'm Sai. I'm currently working on Lumo, which is basically we're trying to automate one-on-one learning and online education. So today, if you imagine the day you were born, compare the technology with education that existed then to now. Today, you can learn almost anything that you want online, whether it's marketing, science, technology, whatever it may be, it's available to you. It's just only your willingness to learn. But there's a big problem with this, even though there's a ton of stuff out there that's available for you to learn. It's just a bunch of videos. What if you have questions or concerns or doubts? Who do you reach out to? Maybe you go onto a forum and you publish a question, but you would have to wait, a few hours for your question to be answered? Or maybe you go talk to a friend or something. But these are all time consuming and tedious. What if you just wanted to learn on the spot? Like if you had a teacher right beside you. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with Lumo. But first, let's present the opportunity that we have here. A 2004 Harvard study showed that there was a 200% improvement on math standardized scores when students had a one-on-one instructor. And research all the way back to 1980 shows that there's a 2 sigma learning gap. Basically, for the people that are learning one-on-one compared to a traditional classroom style learning, there's a 2 standard deviations difference. So how can we use this opportunity and scale this out using technology? And this brings us to the problem, which is we do know from research that students flourish with one-on-one attention. But the thing is, educators always are not available. And moreover, they spend more than 50 hours every week on average working at their job. So they're overloaded with work, burnt out, and the time to assist students one-on-one is very limited. They might respond to an email or get you on a 15-minute call, but they won't always be there for you. And so with Lumo, we're trying to create a digital assistant for online courses. So for example, let's say you're taking a course online, let's say it's edX, and you're trying to learn how to make a Swift app, mobile dev. And lots of times with these online courses, there's really no one to reach out to. They're just passive. And it's just you that are supposed to be learning on your own. And so with Lumo, after integrating Lumo, you'd be able to have a conversation with the digital assistant that acts like your teaching assistant, basically. So whatever questions, concerns you might have or confusions, you could just ask Lumo and it would answer as if it's a real person. And so we were inspired with this problem from a Georgia Tech study in 2016. Essentially, a professor did this research study where they created an AI bot, and students were able to use that bot without knowing it was actually a bot. At the end of the day, even the TAs didn't know that it was a bot. So that shows that how compelling that use case was. And we thought, why can't we scale this out? And we also saw a personal problem with our own education that we have here at Virginia Tech after the pandemic with online courses. And our ultimate vision is to basically integrate it with the existing tech stack. So whatever online course it may be, or even Canvas too, while you're taking digital lectures and videos. As students, you might be confused, I'm sure. A lot of times when you can't understand certain concepts, who do you reach out to? So Lumo is like the perfect place that we can integrate you as a student with. And recently, we've had a little progress with some experiments that we've been working on. And we currently have about 910 users and 300 weekly active users with 1 paid and then 4,000 questions asked on the platform. And we've come a long way since starting this project. First, we were initially just a hackathon idea at Stanford Tree Hacks. And then gradually we were very compelled with this problem and we saw ourselves using something like this. So we thought to ourselves that why not just go out and build it for ourselves, even if no one uses it. And so that's exactly what we did. And here we are with a new pivot. And previously we were called Wonderly, if you guys remember. And yeah, currently we're serving our new users and trying to build our new EdTech platform to integrate with EdTech, with the EdTech stack. And coming into Apex, we've received a tremendous amount of help here with the support from Sean, Derek, Howard, and other mentors like Nelson Chu as well. And we were able to get into top competitions like Imagine Cup and also eFest this month. So received a lot of help from Apex and super grateful for that. And if you guys are educators or super interested in this learning tool, or if you're a student that wants to learn more about this, feel free to reach out to us or talk to me after the demo day today. Thank you.
Sai, it's really great. I mean, you and I have known each other for 5 years now, right? And it's pretty awesome to see all the different projects you've worked on and where you are now. What's next for you with Lumo?
Yeah, this is definitely a compelling problem that I'm very interested in. Like Qasim said previously, work on a problem that you're focused on and not a solution. And I plan to work on this part-time after graduation, since I'll be working full-time at a job. But this is definitely something that I'll be continuing on.
Fantastic. When you think about your next steps, what are some benchmarks that you get really excited about as you continue to acquire new users and incorporate feedback on the platform? What do you anticipate being next?
I think the biggest thing for us is just seeing excitement from the users that we're talking to. So we're speaking with a lot of creators right now that have cohort-based courses, which is the market that we've chosen. And they find a lot of excitement with something like this because it saves time for them, makes their course more lucrative for the other students to come in, and essentially just makes it more profitable for them at the end of the day. And so, so it's very compelling for them to use it as well. And that's pretty exciting going forward.
That's wonderful. One of the things that we always talk about within, Apex, and then also in the broader community with, investors and venture capitalists is, the ability to be a coachable founder and someone that listens to advice. And I just got a text message from Nelson Chu saying, wow, Sai incorporated so much of what we talked about last week. So from a founder perspective, how do you make sure that you are listening to the people that are giving you advice and making sure that you're incorporating the things that are going to help you move forward? And give us some examples of your conversation from Nelson last week.
I think it really comes down to two things. First is just being humble, and second is just being grounded with what you know, and being open-minded. Because even though you might be an expert at your field, there's always something new that you can learn. So just being open-minded with experts that are coming in with more knowledge than you, even if they're not in the same domain, there's always something that you can learn from these people. And so that's really how I approach things like that.
That's awesome. I know it's a follow-up question to that. I know it's daunting for a lot of folks in the audience to engage with alums that have, are cashed out entrepreneurs and investors. How do you get over that barrier? How do you get over that fear that your idea might not be the best, but that they're there to help?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a struggle that I faced as an entrepreneur here at Virginia Tech. Every idea that you come up with will be dumb at some point, until the time that people find it useful. So you just have to keep pushing it, keep trying it. And once people do find it useful, you'll find product market fit or whatever it may be. But the thing is, at the end of the day, if you like the problem that you're working on, just keep pushing it.
Very cool. All right, two more questions. One is you asked for some educators, and I definitely know that there's some folks online and some connections that all of us have. But what other help do you need as you move forward?
I think the biggest thing right now is connecting with educators. Last time when we spoke to Nelson Chu, he recommended a few people that in the Virginia Tech community that had courses that they were hosting themselves. So if I could connect with professors, like I know Howard's a professor right now with a course. And so people like Howard or people that have courses running that right now would be great beta users for us. So we'd love to connect more with them and discuss further.
When you're in the right place, there's a lot of professors that you can you can get access to. You know, every team's going to get this question tonight. So, you know, when you think about the audience and the resources available to them, what would you tell them, you know, is their next step as they're playing with an idea or a company? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is Virginia Tech has a plentiful resources here. Like whatever you want to do, there's a way to make it happen. But it comes down to you at the end of the day. If you're really committed to the project that you're working on, if you're really serious about it, you can find a way to go make it happen. Just like the other teams that you see here, they all found the problems that they were working on super passionate about, so they went and chased it. So if you're really committed, you'll find a way to go chase it.
I love it. Sai, thank you so much. We're excited to see what you do next. Keep cranking.
All right. Thanks. One thing I want to pull out is Lumo is also a multi-university startup, right? I believe you have a co-founder. MIT, never heard of that school. I'm just kidding. That's fantastic. And you know, another thing, if anyone in the audience was thinking, well, you know, how's Lumo going to take on large learning platforms like Khan Academy or say Masterclass, for example? I think one of the cool things about what Sai's building and the way that he's positioning the company is it's complementary, right? Those large platforms probably need technology like this to make their learning environment more sticky, because when students drop out of their classes, they lose revenue, right? And so anything they can do to keep people on those platforms is going to be seen as helpful. So it's a complementary feature, I think, to a lot of the trends in education. All right, next team, if we could have Jacqueline come on up and introduce MassApply.
Ooh, hello again. Sorry, couldn't get rid of me just yet. I get the opportunity to introduce Naman for MassApply. He is a great example of somebody that had to tackle a problem that he felt himself and students just like us of trying to find a job and unfortunately having no luck, especially kind of in this digital age. It has been really great to see Naman succeed over the last 2 years. I know a couple weeks ago, he represented at the ACC InVenture Prize competition, which was really great to see him out and about, sharing all the wonderful things about MassApply. So I will pass it off to Naman to share more.
Hello, so I'm Naman Singh. I'm the co-founder and CEO of MassApply. I started this company with my friend Sana, who's on the call over there. And yeah, we're building MassApply, which is automation to help people land 10 times more interviews in the job hunt. So the problem we're solving is that it's incredibly competitive, especially in the tech industry, to land interviews. And a lot of these existing solutions like LinkedIn or Indeed are essentially black holes where I'm sure we've all experienced this, where we're tossing our resumes in, but nothing seems to happen and only 2 to 3% of people ever hear back. So these problems became really exacerbated at the start of the pandemic. A lot of our own peers lost their full-time job offers and internships. And so wanting to at least build something to help, we launched a job hunting CRM at the start of the pandemic, and it grew to 5,000 users within 2 months of launching, which kind of let us know that we were onto something and this was a problem worth solving. So the way we're solving this is we're automating the most effective job hunting tactics. So the most notable ones we've seen are MassApply, which is making sure you're applying to a lot of different companies. The other piece that I've noticed that is super underrated is cold emailing, where you're reaching out directly to recruiters vouching for why you would be a good fit at their company. And then the next is using referrals. So using your network to get people to vouch for you at a lot of these top tech companies. So essentially, MassApply is trying to automate all of these steps. So for the mass applying piece, we provide a lot of job opportunities at a lot of the top tech companies. And then we have the one-click cold emailing tool. So the way this works is for the 2,000 jobs in tech, we found the email addresses of the recruiters in charge of these jobs so that for any of these jobs, the job seeker can send a personalized cold email to the recruiter in a single click, just doing that strategy of vouching for why they'd be a good fit. And this saves you a lot of time because if you would have to do this manually, you would have to look through all of the companies, you would have to find all of the recruiters, their email information, and it's just a whole, there's so much friction in that process. So we're automating that by connecting with Gmail and doing that in one step. So the way this works is a user logs in through Gmail, sets up their cold email template once with their relevant work experience, accomplishments, and their resume, and builds a job cold emailing template. And then for any job, they just click, and then it will load in the correct information. They can make any final edits before they send this out to a recruiter. And yeah, this is actually a method that I use to land an internship at Reddit, and a lot of our users have used to land over 300 interviews. Another piece that we're getting off the ground at this moment that I'm super excited about is MassApply referrals. So the idea behind this is we're connecting students with willing referrers at top companies. Referrals are actually the highest converting method of the job hunt, even better than cold emailing and just applying to a bunch of things. And 30% of jobs are actually landed with this method. Yeah, this is super critical. And what we would do on our platform is people, they put in their information and we essentially route the most highly matching candidates with the relevant companies. And referrers are also very incentivized because they typically collect a 5 to 10K bonus at a lot of these tech companies if the person that they refers ends up joining the company. So it's really great for both sides. And that's why we have a lot of referrers already onboarded to our platform. And long-term, we believe that if we can get a lot of candidates into companies this way, that we can build partnerships with these companies that we're supplying a lot of our candidates to. So in terms of our metrics and our progress, so we have about, well, now 13,000 users. Oh, I guess some of these numbers are out of date, but we have about over 300 interviews and around like 80 offers. And in the cohorts that we've tracked our metrics, around 8% applicant to interview rate, which is roughly 3 times better than a lot of our competitors. And over 100,000 job applications have been submitted with MassApply. 1,500 people have sent over 3,000 cold emails, and we have 83 referrers already onboarded to MassApply for our referrals feature at a lot of these top companies like Fang and a lot of other Silicon Valley companies. It's been really great being involved with Startup Hokies in the Apex Center. It's really been I guess we've been involved with them from the inception of our company. And it's really helped us hit all of our milestones. I think the greatest part is the community and accountability elements where, you know, being surrounded by all of these other fellow entrepreneurs and having the accountability of, you know, checking in and making sure that our mentors are helping us make progress is really critical. And yeah, really great mentors. So we've met very frequently with Sean, Rob Cummings, Kim Shanahan, and Adam Rossi. And it's given us a lot of perspective to keep on making progress with our problem. And we've also had a lot of support in competing in national competition. So last year we competed in eFest, which Sai is competing in soon, so wish him luck. Yeah, and we were able to place second place and get a 30K prize, which was really great for helping us invest further into our company. And we got to travel to Florida for the ACC Adventure. So a lot of cool opportunities. So everyone should definitely get involved. And yeah, so overall, our long-term vision for MassApply is to become the de facto job hunting tool for all early career professionals. So we are razor focused, unlike a lot of these big platforms. to really focus on the job seekers and help solve their problem of how can I best land an interview and how can I best land a job. We think by focusing in on that problem, as opposed to helping companies hire more efficiently, like a lot of these big platforms, we think that we can win out this market and hopefully change how people hunt for jobs for good. Yep, that's all I got. Thank you.
Really fantastic, Naman and Sana. It's great to see the progress you all have made. I remember, the first time we met, the two of you, and you had this idea, and to see it, come to fruition is really, really fun. I want to talk to you a little and ask you some questions about your team. I think finding a co-founder is one of the most important decisions an entrepreneur can make. And the two of you have been working together for a really long time. So tell us a little bit about, kind of the relationship and how you two met and how you've had a working relationship. I mean, Sana's been graduated and has a full-time job, but continues to work on MassApply. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so me and Sana have always, we were friends throughout college, and we always have these conversations. She's one of my smarter friends. I don't want to throw shots at my other friends, but yeah. So, when I had the idea of MassApply after going through my own job hunt and realizing kind of how many tactics there were to more efficiently job hunt and how important of a problem it was, I knew that I wanted to pursue it. And so I looked to my friend to help me build it out, and she's been really great. I come from a software engineering background, so I was the one developing the app and kind of handling the concept, I guess. And Sana's been really great in kind of handling the other bits, like the marketing and kind of a lot of the being very involved with our other big picture decisions. So that's been really great. And it's really great to have another strong co-founder.
Sana, anything you'd add from Zoom?
I would just say, take advantage of those carpool rides that you guys have back and forth between breaks. So that's really where Naman and I started most of our conversations, just aimless carpool conversations from Nova down to Blacksburg, and something good came out of it. So don't sleep on those combos.
That's fantastic. Question from Paul Lombardi, who I know has been a champion of you all for quite some time. Paul asks, how does this valuable service carry forward as the team is employed after graduation?
Yeah, so we have a lot of the baseline kind of covered in terms of our technology, where we've already automated out a lot of the how we source jobs. We've automated that through using a bunch of different job APIs. We have our cold emailing tool, and we're essentially automating a lot of these pillars of the three core tactics I talked about that are most effective for helping people land jobs. So we have a lot of that baseline covered, and I think now it's going to be a lot of iterating on that. But yeah, we have a lot of good baseline covered, and I guess a lot of interesting kind of things in the works of potential partnerships. I think we've had a few small VC firms that reach out to source their own companies where they, I guess we help students who are reaching out connect with their small VC portfolio companies to help them get quality candidates. So we've had a lot of interest from that. So things like that would be kind of roughly how we move forward.
That's awesome. What help do you need as you move forward?
Yeah, so on one hand, we have the referrals feature going on right now, and we already have roughly 80 referrers on board. So if you know anyone at a tech company and their company is hiring, it'd be great to have them on the platform. It's very simple, kind of our flow. So so if you know anyone that's willing to refer people, and if you know anyone who's on the job hunt, which I'm sure we all do, so send them over to massapply.com.
That's fantastic. All right, last question. It's the one everyone's received tonight. What advice do you have for the audience as they get started on their own projects or companies?
Yeah, I'd say the answer is in that question, which is just get started, those two words, because I think we all have these ideas, and the ideas are there. The resources are clearly there. It's really a matter of getting started. We don't have to kind of like overemphasize it in our head because all you have to do, like we always have a big idea of what our MVP needs to look like, but our MVP was really bad. Like it was just like a random dashboard, kind of a scuffed version of Excel. But it was all we needed to figure out like, okay, how are people interacting? And we went from there, and that's how we've built all of our next features that have incrementally gotten better. So just get started and you'll learn from there.
I love it. Just get started. Sana, anything you'd add?
Keep building. Honestly, I know that's like the saying of the center, but really, if you're passionate about something, you'll find the time to do it. And it's a great way to just, I currently work in consulting, and for my mentors that I've made in the field, talking about MassApply, they can really see the transferable skill when you're building something on your free time. So don't think that like, oh, I'm going after something that's my passion, I'm not going to be able to apply this in the real world. The real world, you'll always be able to find a way to connect things. And it really shows when you speak about something you love. So yeah, definitely keep building.
Love it. Naman and Sana, thank you so much. And you guys, again, just keep crushing it.
Great stuff. All right, some cool themes emerging. That's another engineering and business co-founded team. We see a lot of that here, probably for good reason. And another successful founder that started with a problem that they experienced firsthand, right? You know you're doing something right when you've spent zero ever on ads to acquire customers and you have 10 or 12,000 users on MassApply. And so the fact that Naman and Sana are now taking that into industry, I believe you're going to work at a private company in San Francisco, is that right? So that's the perfect environment to continue to build their startup on the side while they're in the real world, to use Sana's terminology there. Awesome. All right, we're lining up our last team. So if Shannon wants to come on up and introduce SyncUp, please.
Okay, last but not least, I'm going to introduce Maddie Lane. She is a senior in the Pamplin College of Business, majoring in BIT and management. So if you're a senior like Maddie or I've heard there's a couple other seniors in the room and you're moving to a new city for your job, definitely listen up to SyncUp. It's the app designed for life after college. I've had the pleasure of working with Maddie in the beginning of her startup phase, and just watching her growth and where she is now and what she's presenting today is super awesome, just to see how everything's all come together and the progress that she's made. So now here's Maddie Lane.
Thank you so much, Shannon. So yeah, like Shannon just mentioned, I'm Maddie Lane, and I'm the founder of SyncUp, an application designed for recent college graduates to connect with others in their new city. So starting off with the problem here, social life after college is definitely a big transition, and a few data points to just kind of help exemplify that issue. I found that 40% of college graduates said that they felt socially isolated after graduation. 49% of college graduates said that they felt they had a decline in mental health after graduation. And then 95% of college seniors interviewed at Virginia Tech said that they felt stressed about finding new friends after graduation. So what does the solution look like? So we are creating an application where users can go in by location and put in their preferences and then view other people's preferences so that they can connect with others very easily. This allows users to meet the right people a lot faster. Users can find others exactly like them and make new friends easily. And also this alleviates the stress and hassle of moving to a new area. So this is the motto behind SyncUp and kind of what users should do with SyncUp. And I want to make a point here that there's apps out there like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, where you can connect with new people, you can meet new people on these apps, but what differentiates SyncUp is actually the psychology. So it's often very weird and almost like uncomfortable to, friend a random person and message them on Facebook. But with SyncUp, everybody's coming on the app to meet new people and to put themselves out there and connect with others. So that's kind of how SyncUp is differentiated. So I actually have gotten a very simple minimum viable product on the App Store as of this week. And so I just wanted to show you guys a few of the features. So the first feature is just the timeline feature. This just very easily allows people to, see what's going on, post whatever they want, ask questions about, moving to their new area, all that kind of thing. Second feature is customizing your profile. So here you can, go in, put a little bit about yourself, and you can view other people's profiles, see if, maybe you would want to reach out to them, become friends with them. And then the last feature is the messenger feature. So this feature just allows other people to message people in a group setting or in a private setting. Cool thing about this feature too is you can make group chats. So for example, I'm moving to Arlington in May, and I'd probably go in the search bar and search up Arlington as a keyword, and maybe I could find, a Hokies to Arlington group chat or a gym Arlington group chat, and join those groups, look at the users in those groups, and connect with them that way. So what's next? Obviously, I've created a very simple minimum viable product. Next step is to attract early adopters. So we actually have 140 Sharky's gift cards that we're going to be going into senior level classes the next few weeks, pitching this to them and incentivizing them with these gift cards to download our app and interact with other people. Next steps are definitely upscaling the application. I used a low-code development platform, and I definitely want to apply some more features that I found with our solution data. And then lastly, obviously just growing the users and marketing to our target audience over time. So what do we need now? One of the things that I really want is a developer, maybe an intern, to kind of just veer away from the low-code development platform. Like I touched on earlier, it's very, there's really not a lot you can do with low code. And so I really do want to develop something more advanced for solving this problem. And then also having a better marketing strategy. Definitely have a few ideas. I know how to market, but it's always good to get guidance on marketing. And then lastly, monetization. Eventually, we do want to make a profit off of this application. So getting some guidance on that would also be helpful. Lastly, I just wanted to thank Apex for everything that they've done for me. Sean, Ben, and Shannon especially. This was really just a random idea, and now it's turned into something more. And I really thank them for all of their support and guidance.
All right.
Awesome. Maddie, thank you so much. Again, great idea. And one of the questions we have is from Nelson Chu. And I had a question along the same lines. Is there one way, when we think about getting traction and getting those first users, often think about areas where you can partner with someone that has an audience or a community already built out. Is there a way where you could partner with an alumni association or another like entity that might be able to help kind of get this up and running and begin to incorporate, the problem that you're trying to solve for graduating seniors here at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's an awesome idea. I kind of was just starting, I guess, with the big group of seniors at Virginia Tech, but eventually we would love to partner with, especially like the Alumni Association here. I know they put a lot out there. I actually just got an email today about like a senior thing they're doing to kind of help with the transition. So I definitely think partnering with them and offering this resource for them would be really useful.
Awesome. When you going back in your slides, you had some really good data at the beginning about 40% of students have this issue, 95% are afraid of finding new friends after graduation. That discovery is really important. Tell us about how you went about that and about how many people you discussed this challenge with.
Yeah, so I'm actually an entrepreneurship concentration within my management major. So I've had the privilege to work on this project throughout the semester in my senior level class. So we did do a decent amount of research, first with the problem research. So we basically made a big survey just asking like, how are you feeling about life after graduation? What's going to be different about your social life? Those kinds of open-ended questions, and we compiled that data. I want to say around 50 or 60 people ended up taking the survey, and we got some really great results and realized, this is an issue, and people are definitely nervous about moving to a new city and, finding their crowd. And then after that, we did some more solution data, and this was more so interviewing people individually and kind of understanding, what would they actually use. And we got a lot of great data from that. I will say, I haven't been able to use all of that in my application, just again, because of the low code. So I definitely have a lot of great ideas for things that I want to implement based on those interviews. So that was really helpful to just have that entrepreneurship piece in class and also Apex outside. So.
Fantastic. So, the golden question of tonight has been what advice would you give to the audience who's getting started on their own projects?
I would definitely say just try and keep your motivation alive. I've definitely gone back and forth about this. Would people actually do this? Blah, blah, blah. And the one thing I'll say is just one, keep your motivation alive and keep talking to people. I swear every day when I talk to somebody about this, I got a text today from some random person in one of my groups that I had mentioned this to a month ago saying, hey, my girlfriend's actually so nervous about moving to Seattle. And I was like, an app would be great for this. And I laughed and was like, well, it's coming out soon. So definitely just, bouncing ideas off with other people, talking to people constantly, keeping your motivation alive is so important, because I think a lot of times we get, nervous and we don't want to go through with something. We don't know if it'll work. And like mentioned before, I just think it's really important to just get started, go do it, and keep that motivation alive for your project.
Wonderful. One last question. What is next for you? You're graduating, so what's next?
Yeah, so I'm actually working at Capital One next year in their CODA program, which is basically a leeway into software development. So I'll go through some training for the first 6 months and then be a software engineer at the end of February. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, Maddie, congratulations, and thanks so much for sharing this with us tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right, great job. Also a really portable startup idea for Maddie to take with her after Virginia Tech. All right, now it gets to our fan favorite moment here. So as a bonus to one of our teams tonight, we want you to vote for your favorite team. They will receive an additional $500. And so if you want to pull out your phone, we have voting instructions here. So you text the phrase Apex Center VT 709 to this number, 37607. So in the to field, where you normally put your friends, type in 37607. And in the message field, you type the text. Then you simply, once you join, you put in the letter for the team that you would like to receive our fan favorite. We'll let that run for about 2 minutes here. Many of you are probably wondering the same thing I am, which is which one of these teams wrote the algorithm to multiply their votes? If anyone's having technical difficulty, raise your hand and one of our consultants can roam around. Perfect. And folks on Zoom, that should be on, the instructions should be on your screen. All right, apparently the votes are rolling in and it's pretty close. So if you have not voted or you're thinking about not voting, please send in your fan favorite here. All right, while that's pending, Shannon, can I get the next slide? Cool. If you've been inspired by any of this or interested in Apex programs, or you're working on a concept and you're a current student at Virginia Tech, our incubator program is definitely for you. The applications are open and they're rolling, so you can apply right on Startup Tree or schedule office hours to meet with myself or one of our student consultants. The incubator gives you access to a lot of the resources we talked about tonight, like priority space, as well as mentorship and funding to move your concept forward. So before you leave for summer, please come see us about the incubator. One more slide. All right, and while we tally the votes here, quick shout out, in addition to our consultants, a huge thank you to our venture mentors, our faculty who are in attendance tonight, our guests and our student consultants who have not only attended our events, but provided tremendous support to our student entrepreneurs. This group of people have let us scale from a center in year one that served 35 students to now over 900 students just this year since we opened the space here downtown. And we really couldn't do that without our supporting cast of mentors, faculty, and consultants. So thank you. These folks have a lot to do with the success of the Apex Center. And we'd like to especially recognize these 6 individuals who are not only leaders on our advisory board, but also our mentorship program. All right, they're tallying the final votes. So we went ahead and closed the polls. The results are in.